everybody, and welcome back to Your Fab Life. Today, we have the pleasure of interviewing Lisa Easton, who is a entrepreneur and wealth mentor. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Yes, this is such a unique interview. I don't actually, I think I've done, obviously, I've interviewed lots of like coaches and entrepreneurs, but I
Hmm.
don't think I have specifically interviewed someone in the finance or the wealth space as a mentor. So this is the first time
Hmm.
I've done this. So
Oh, okay.
I'm excited to jump into how you mentor um, people to have generational wealth because that's what it's
Oh,
all
yeah,
about. So
absolutely.
we are excited to interview today. So before we get into you being this successful wealth mentor and entrepreneur, who were you before? Because everyone has a journey right before they become who they are. So who were
Yeah.
you before? Where were you raised? What type of work were you doing before this?
Sure. So I am the baby of seven children. My mother was from Spanish Honduras. My father was from Belize. He was a famous soccer player before I was born. He played against Pele and all the greats. Um, so I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. I was born there. And I left in New York when I was 14 years old. My mother died when I was 12. And my dad went on and had a different life. So I was kind of like a latchkey kid after that. And I left home at 14 and raised myself, went to four different high schools, pregnant at 18, married by 21, three more kids by 25, and 25 years of marriage, 6 years divorce. And it was rough. It was rough. I was married to an addict. It was very tumultuous. The divorce was even more tumultuous. And I spent my career in administration, so administrative assistant. Then I went from that to executive assistant, from that to chief of staff, from that to personal assistant to millionaires and billionaires. So I supported many, many wealthy executives. Why it didn't click for me when I was supporting them is a whole different thing. But when I hit my rock bottom and I lost everything after the divorce, lost the house, lost the cars, lost everything, had to move the kids in different places, no financial support. I was responsible for my three college age kids at the time fully, and I had zero financial support. Wasn't supposed to work out that way legally, but that's how it ended up. And so I ended up having to move into a room in my sister's house, and that was my lowest point. And what I did was reflect and go, what were these wealthy people doing? Right? Like I was in their lives, but I wasn't observing their lives to try to create something out of it. Then I remembered every single one of them did the exact same thing every single morning. And I was like, wow, there must be something there. It was a morning routine. They were meditating, they were affirming, they were scripting, and they were exercising. Every single one. So when I had nothing to lose, I was like, well, I may as well try something. So I said, I'm just going to try what I observed them doing. They just were making money seemingly effortlessly. So it's like, it must be something to that. I started diving into the law of attraction, manifestation, and understanding the science of the subconscious mind and all of that. And I started doing the practices every single day, and my entire life changed. Like, seemingly overnight. And I started getting opportunities for employment, making six figures, and I was getting bonuses at work, and I was able to chip away at $55,000 worth of debt from the divorce in 2 years. And then the pandemic hit. I got laid off from my corporate job, who I was supporting, a wealthy executive, and I was like, you know what? I figured it out, and I'm going to teach women all over the world how to do this. And then I'm like, I'm just going to launch it on Instagram and see what happens. And it took a life of its own. It was almost, when you get positioned at the right place that's exactly what happened. I would go live on Instagram every Thursday at 6:15 for 3 years, and I would do live money manifesting meditations on live. And there was 100 people, then there was 500 people, then there were 1,000, then there was 5,000. And it just blew up, and the stories kept coming in. I got a big bonus at my job out of nowhere. I got a raise. All of these miracles seemingly. And that's how I ended up becoming the wealth mentor to my mamas out there.
Oh wow. Well, I love that story. I don't know how many people obviously know your story, but that was an amazing like 5 minute overview of how you got to who you got to because
Yeah.
I'm still stuck on, married kids by 25,
Ooh.
your mom had passed, your dad had kind of moved on. I think any one of those things could have completely taken someone out.
Oh,
I'll be honest with
absolutely.
you. Any
Oh,
one
yeah.
of those things could have completely
Hmm.
derailed someone for the rest of their life.
Absolutely.
So the fact that you just kept going, you're like, all right, this didn't work out. Let me try this. Let me try this. And I
Hmm.
do think that's something to say in whatever industry you're in, whatever passion you're in. Two things: one, that morning routine that you mentioned, but two, just that determination to keep
Yeah.
going.
Yeah.
The most successful people, you never see their loses. You
You
really only see their wins.
exactly.
And they're probably, for
Exactly.
every win, there's probably 1,000 losses,
Oh,
if not more.
absolutely. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I love that you kept going. And I also love that you mentioned right place at the right time. So if you get your stuff together when the right time happens, like literally, and I think I put this on my Instagram page, I put a quote saying basically, when it's your time, like when it's literally your time, there's nothing that can stop it. Like when
Nothing.
it's your time, there's nothing that
Absolutely
can stop
nothing.
it. It's like
Yeah.
divine. And
Yeah.
it's interesting you mentioned the pandemic, because okay, so I have this joke because I'm always like, I see, I don't know, maybe 2020 on, because that's when
Mm-hmm.
the pandemic hit.
Mm-hmm.
You would go on Instagram and like you were doing your lives and your manifestations and your mentoring and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But what I also saw, everybody had a course. Everybody was trying to sell
Yes.
someone a course. Like courses were like this big thing,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I chuckled to myself because I'm like, I've been doing this since like 2017, like when it wasn't even popular.
Popular.
And it was
Mhm.
crazy because I would get some sales, but like people didn't really know what it was. And
Right.
for me, it came out of a place of, okay, every day somebody is asking me the same question. How do
Right.
I do this with the copyright? How do I do this with the trademark? How do I do
Yeah.
this with an LC? How do I do a block? People would say, how? Can you help me? How? And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
instead of individually keep telling people how I do it, I could
Mm-hmm.
just record myself
That's
with
right.
my laptop,
That's right.
a step two, literally step by step on all these
Yep.
various topics,
That's right.
upload them to a platform, and people can pay a one-time cost and have
That's
it,
right.
and they can watch me as many times as they want to do what they need to do. And
Yeah.
so I thought about this back in 2017,
Wow.
2018. But
Wow.
again, a lot of people didn't really understand what online courses were.
Right.
It wasn't until the
Right.
pandemic that people really got what it was.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And for me, again, timing, because the
Mm-hmm.
courses already existed. By the
Mm-hmm.
time the pandemic hit, my website just exploded because it
That's
was
right.
already there. It
Already
wasn't like
there.
I had to rush and go create it. The
Right.
stuff was already there. Everyone was trying to start a business and file
Yeah.
trademark for their business and file LC for their business in the pandemic. And
Right.
so, yeah, that's how I got my first published interview with Yahoo Finance, because they were like,
Wow.
how I had already had all these courses and how it really helped a lot of entrepreneurs, but particular women entrepreneurs in the
Mm-hmm.
pandemic, was already having this platform
That's
established.
right.
So
Right
I
place,
I
right
I
time.
hear you. I hear you. Right time. Sometimes you're maybe launching something or you're doing something and you're like, oh, this isn't doing that well. It's not getting the feedback that I want.
Oh, give it time.
Give it time.
Give it time.
Give it
Mhm.
time, and it'll go. So that
Yeah.
is amazing. So I think you kind of answered a little bit of my second question in terms of what made you kind of choose to start to do this. I know for you, you
Yeah.
realize, well, I don't want to keep, a job. I always tell people jobs are wonderful. They stabilize you. They give you a salary. They
Mm-hmm.
give you money to invest in your business. I would never tell anyone to quit their job until they absolutely
Mm-hmm.
do. But it is a job. At some point, you can be laid off. And
Sure.
so I think it's amazing. I think for you, it clicked like, okay, I'm doing really well helping all these successful millionaires, billionaires, but
Yeah.
at any point they can just not use me anymore.
Right. Right.
So I
Yeah.
gotta have something where the only person that can fire me is
Yeah.
me.
Right. And I also think that, certain levels of wealth is not for everybody, right? Some people are very happy working their 9 to 5 and working for 40 years and retiring with their retirement. I mean, there's
Right,
nothing wrong with that.
right,
But I have always known that I wanted to and would be wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
100%. Even when I was a little girl in elementary school, I remember daydreaming off while the teacher was teaching, and I'd be thinking of myself as a wealthy person doing something. Now, it was in the entertainment, I'm a singer, so it was in that kind of field. But I would daydream about this all the time. So I knew. And when the pandemic hit, I was like, well, one, it's a pandemic. So if I get another job, I'm still going to be virtual, probably for a while. So why don't I just try to package what I know and what I've done and see if it will kind of take off, and then I don't have to go back to work for someone. So it was just the opportune time to try something different. I've launched many businesses over the years, so I don't want anybody to think this was my first, time around, but nothing did very well.
That,
But I still
so,
tried because I'm a serial entrepreneur. I love starting from scratch. Like right now I'm like, okay guys, now let's make this evergreen so I can go off and build something else, right? Because I love that. But I do think that it's just timing, and it's really making a decision of what kind of life you want to have, and then what kind of life you want to leave, right? So
mm,
those are my two things. What kind of life do I want to have? What kind of life do I want to leave behind for my children and now my one grandbaby? So that was my motivation. And I was just like, I'm just not going back to work. Let's see what happens. I've already hit rock bottom, so I know where that is. So if I had to hit it again, I would be fine. And so let's do it. And it just went crazy. 3 years, business grew to $1 million, and now it's over $2 million a year. And I teach women how to do this in 3 years. I just give them my exact formula. But I'm sure that's going to come. So I'm not going to go
yes,
ahead
yes,
and get
yes,
ahead. I'm not
yes.
going to get ahead of
That wealth mentor
it.
millionaire plan. No, I'm excited. You've already got a customer, new customer on this
Awesome.
interview. I cannot wait to
Awesome.
download it. So since again, a big part of who you are, like you said, in terms of where you want to go and what you want to leave, is manifesting, right?
Yes.
That's a big part of, you know, if you want to call it the secret, a big part of the secret is manifestation.
Yeah.
Can you recall the first thing that you ever manifested, and how did that make you feel?
Yeah, I actually can. I was still working for a wealthy executive, and they have an annual Christmas party that someone in the company would host and organize and all of that. Well, the person that was hosting it wasn't going to host it that year. And I said, you know what? I don't know. I just thought it was exciting. I said, I'll volunteer and see if they'll let me do it. And they gave it to me for 2 years, and it was probably $500,000 budget, maybe higher for the party. So it was a big deal. And I did it, and I did it exceptionally well, and I got a massive bonus. And I was like, okay, that was it, right? It was like 25,000 or $30,000 bonus. I had a $55,000 deck. I was like, bam, knock that down. And then it happened again. The next year they gave me a bigger bonus because I did it again, and then we blew it out of the water. And then I started to see, oh, what I'm actually doing in my mindset is actually turning into something tangible. I had to make the connection because I wasn't used to this, right? Like random. Then I started getting checks in the mail, like people saying, oh, companies saying, oh, you overpaid us. I'm like, really? I overpaid you when I have no money and I'm broke and I'm in debt? I doubt it, but okay. So that's what started happening. And then it was just getting online and launching my business and getting clients, pretty quickly. And year one, I think, was like 40 something thousand, nothing to be excited about. But as an entrepreneur, for somebody to pay you, so year two, 80 something thousand, year three, 500 something thousand, year four, a million, like,
Right. It
come on.
just kept
You,
going and
yeah,
going.
this is not just my skill set. This is the power
Yeah,
of vibrational energy and
love
frequency
that.
and manifestation.
I love that. I love that. I'm already inspired to. I feel like manifestation has been a part of what I've done up to this point, but I definitely feel like you can never have too much of it. And I think sometimes
Mhm.
I have like these lulls in some of my goals or how I'm executing something, and I'm just like,
Mhm.
oh,
Mhm.
I just kind of want to give up, like, or maybe I'll do something else, or
Yeah.
maybe it wasn't meant to be. So it's like you said, you got to change that mindset, and it's
Yeah.
almost like you have to manifest it in the spiritual to force it into
Yes.
the physical. You literally have to
Yes.
force it over into the physical, but
Yep.
it starts in the spiritual first before it even
Absolutely.
manifests. And
Absolutely.
so this interview is definitely inspiring me to just remind myself of that.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
before I'm gonna see it in the physical, I gotta believe it and I gotta meditate on it consistently
That's right.
in the spiritual before I see it.
Yes.
What would you say is your favorite part of your wealth mentoring?
My favorite part is actually working with women who are just like all of us at first, and they go, how is this going to be possible for me? I don't have any money, right? I'm working a regular job, I'm living paycheck to paycheck. Or I have other women who have money, have savings, but they don't know what to do with it. My favorite part is when we get over, when they're investing and they start getting their money investments back, and then they're like, what? Like, this is actually
Working.
possible. Like, how is it possible to make, this kind of money on your money in such a short space of time? And I said, it is called access. It is called access. I promise you, for all of your listeners out there, I want you to hear just this one thing, if you don't hear anything else, that the wealthy people have access to things that everyone else does not have access to and is not aware of.
Hmm.
That you need to know. Because the thing is that you think that they're just doing the same thing you're doing, but they're just doing it better. That's absolutely not true. They just have access to opportunities, investment opportunities that are very, very high profit, very secure in short space of time, right? So they're able to make them money very quickly, right? So
Hmm.
they take what they've earned and they invest it so that it grows for them. They don't have to work 30 years now because their money is growing on their behalf. So it's really, really important to understand that access is really the key to being able to grow your wealth and grow it quickly as you want to.
And that's a part of this plan that
Yes.
you talk about. Great,
Yes.
great. Now, if someone wanted to go into again, yours is a specific niche of wealth,
Yeah.
obviously wealth
Yeah.
mentoring. But if someone wanted to be like a mentor or coach in the space of their expertise,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
what would be like the best piece of advice? Because I know you started kind of in the pandemic and you use Instagram and Instagram worked for you, but maybe Instagram doesn't work. Maybe TikTok would work better. Like
Right.
what do
Yeah.
you think they should do at least initially to even, I guess, like execute it? Because you could
Yeah.
be like an expert in your field, but to your
Right.
point, you have to have a platform to reach the people.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
what would you suggest? I know Instagram worked for you, but
Mm-hmm.
what would you suggest in addition to Instagram in terms of how to connect with people?
Yeah, so I would say, first of all, I taught business strategy for a really long time in the beginning too, just because I loved it and I was doing so well at it and I taught that. So I understand what it takes to grow a niche on in any social media. But I would say that the first thing would be use all of the platforms. You need to be omnipresent, right? You need to be on Instagram, you need to be on TikTok, you need to be on YouTube if you can, you need to be on Facebook. I just chose Instagram and TikTok.
Okay.
Some Facebook, but I really didn't nurture that very much. I went with the platform that was giving me the most momentum, right? So you need to test that out. Where are you going to move the fastest? And then put most of your energy there. But the good news is between Instagram and TikTok, you can repurpose content. You don't have to create separate content for each
Gotcha.
one. So you just take content and repurpose it on the other one, and let's see which one starts to take off more quickly. The other thing would be to be sure that you're using all of the tools within the app. You need to go live, you need to post reels, you need to, do all the things. You need to edit on the app. Like they want you to be on there as much as possible. You need to understand the hashtags, you need to understand the algorithm. I
Algorithm.
studied I studied this stuff. I could tell you, I know how to make that algorithm move. And it took me time, but I know how to do it. And every time mine slows down, I know where to go and what to do and how to get it to pick back up again. So you need to understand that part. But the most important part is you have to understand marketing. You have to understand how to speak directly to your ideal client avatar. How do I speak specifically to the person that I am trying to target? Meaning, do I know their pain points? Do I understand where they're at? And how can I craft my message to speak specifically to them? I'm going to tell you the biggest mistake that people make. No one wants to niche down. They want to talk about everything. They want to be about everything. You're talking to no one if you're talking about everything. You got to talk to one person about one thing and let that develop. And then you can talk about whatever you want when you have the momentum and your business is scaling it. You could talk about, but in the beginning, you really, and you would know my tribe, my ladies, I have 110 members in my club and then 40 something private wealth mentorship clients. I would probably say 95% of them have said to me, we're the same person. I came to you because I went through what you went through. Like we are the same person. That's what brought them. So it's not as much about your product as much as it is about your story.
Mm, mm. I love
They're going to
that. I
buy the
love that.
story before they're going to buy the product.
Right. That's why I even tell people, even with the Kardashians, like, don't get me wrong, I do like some of their products, but
Hmm.
you're really buying them. You're
Of
buying them
course.
first, and then
Of
you're buying the
course.
actual product. Because someone else can come up, and some people have come up with very similar things, and you're
Of
not necessarily
course.
buying it. So I definitely think you have a story where people can relate.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, being omnipresent on everything, and then
Yeah.
also testing what moves the fastest. You got to have data points to figure out,
That's
okay,
right.
this worked this time, this did work
Right.
this time. Let's rinse and repeat
Right.
what did work. So,
Yeah.
yeah, no, those are some great tips. Now I'm going to jump into what in a nutshell is your wealth mentoring in terms of, okay, someone comes in, and the name of your program is Millionaire Mamas?
Millionaire Morning Mamas.
Millionaire Morning Mamas. Okay,
Hmm.
so someone comes to your platform, they've watched this interview, they go to the site to get started.
Hmm.
What is your core offering, I guess, that someone is purchasing from you to get started?
Sure. So we have three. I'll give it to you really quickly. We have a digital course, which is the money manifestation mindset, wealth mindset, all the initial foundational pieces and aspects of creating wealth. So that's baseline, right? You got to go there before we move you on most of the time, unless you come in and you're advanced, right? But you want to start there so we can remove the limiting beliefs, remove the money mindset blocks. That's that. Then we have an exclusive Mogul Mama Investors Club. It's an all women's investment club that we get access to these real estate syndication deals that give us high profits, high returns, secured, guaranteed. So that's 112 of us in that group, and we all invest together. And then Mastermind is the highest level program where you work with me for 1 year and I build your roadmap to $1 million in 3 years. So I look at all of your financials in person. I fly you in, we sit together, and I go through everything A to Z. Where is the money? Where can we find it? Is it in equity in the home? Where is it, right? Is it in a retirement account, etc.? And if it's not, and if it's nowhere, then we look at business funding. How can we start getting you some business funding? And that way you can start using that to invest. So even if you have no money at all, you can still do this and do it in 3 years. So three programs: digital course, investment club, and wealth mentorship.
Oh wow, I love that. And I love how it steps it out. And also
Yeah,
depending on where you are, you may come in a different space, you
exactly.
can pick your module. But that is
Yeah.
amazing. And I think it also helps people to know that, you don't have to have already be a millionaire, already have all this money
Oh
to
no.
start. You're gonna
Oh
you're gonna
no.
meet the person where they are.
Mhm.
How did you come up with the name? I love the name, by the way. How did you come
So funny enough, I came up with the name in meditation one morning, and we had another name. The name was Admin Queen. That was my original
Yeah,
name that
no,
I
that
launched.
wouldn't have resonated
Admin.
with me.
And I was like, I was meditating one morning and then millionaire came to my mind and then morning and then mama's. I was like, wow, I think we should call this and I had a different partner at the time. We're not partners anymore. And he was like, nobody's going to love that name. You can't, it's not Googleable. Like nobody's going to find it. It's not going to work in SEO. I mean, everything. And I said, I don't know. I just got to go with it. I just got to go. And we did. And please, it's taken a life of its own. But it was basically about our outcome is we want to be millionaires, right? We're going to use our morning routine to get there. And we are mamas, not mama's mother, but mamas like Latina, like mama. So that,
I love that. I love that. But it actually plays both ways. No, I
yeah,
love that. I love
exactly.
that. I love that. Let's see. Would you say, I know you mentioned that you've had some partners. Is there a mentor or someone that you've worked with up to this point that you think that has really helped you get where you are? Is there any individuals that you think have played a
Yeah.
key role?
Yeah, I don't have any partners. I had a partner in the beginning, very short time, but I do everything is solo. I own it all. My wealth mentor, who is the person that got me access to all of these real estate syndication deals and everything, absolutely changed my life. I mean, changed my life, gave me access to everything. I actually was launching my digital course. So she's an educator in the digital course as well.
Mhm.
She's a guru, financial guru, been since she was 17 years old. She's brilliant, like a genius. She's been on a stock market floor, all of that stuff, and
Wow.
is
Okay.
worth millions and millions of dollars. I think she has over 100 properties across the world, and
Wow.
she's just brilliant. You will definitely meet her, I promise. We'll be
Okay.
talking about that.
Love it.
But she gave me access to all this. But the crazy thing is, when I was building my digital course, I had 12 educators that were going to join me, right?
Okay.
And so our last educator was a stock person, a stock market person that can be like the expert on that. And I wanted a woman. Very difficult to find, nearly impossible,
Very,
right?
very.
Wanted a woman. So my partner at the time was like, listen, we got to launch this. We got to find somebody. And he said, I know somebody that knows somebody that you might be able to get. It's a long shot, but let's try. So he tried reaching out to her, nothing, 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 no response. So a couple days go by, no response. And he's like, we got to make a decision. I said, just give me 24 more hours. And I would go and meditate. And I knew what she looked like, and I researched her. So I would envision and imagine her and I sitting at a table, and she was just sharing stuff with me, information. And then we wake up the next day, and he's like, I'm like, any word? And he's like, no. I said, give me 24 more hours. He's like, we're in trouble because we got to launch this in like in the next day. So we did that for about 2 days, and day three, she responds. She goes, I'm so sorry. I was in Ghana, Africa, working on my property there, and I had no service. I'm back. I'll be a part of the program, whatever she wants. And not, you don't have to pay me a dime. I want to be a part of whatever she's doing.
Wow. Wow.
And, oh my
Here's
gosh,
here's another example of how you just
I'm
manifested.
telling
You
you,
said, I want to work with this woman. I'm gonna
that was
envision
it.
her and I'm just
Yeah.
gonna meditate on
There
it and
was
I'm
no
gonna
other
manifest
option
it.
for me. I just didn't feel like there was another option. And she said, get me on the phone with her for 15 minutes. We get on Zoom. She talks for 2 hours, 2 hours. And at the end of the call, she says, you are now my sister. Anything I have access to, you have access to. And
Wow.
let's do this together. And we've been working together for 4 years on these
Wow.
investment deals.
Wow.
And we've done probably $8
It's
million dollars in deals with her.
it's so funny because I always say with the Your Fab Life podcast, to your point, they're the typical, careers of lawyer, doctor, whatever.
Yeah.
And yes, I
Yeah.
do interview people in those spaces, but I'm like, I'm looking for someone, like you said, that is an expert on stocks. I'm looking for an
Yes.
expert on real estate. I'm looking for
Yes.
an someone that is just doing something that is just like typically unattainable. And I
Absolutely.
want to introduce this person to my community. So when you said that,
Mhm.
I'm always with my team like, who else can we interview? Like, I want something
Yeah.
different. I want something unique.
Yeah.
I was even looking for someone that knows how to launch apps because
Mm.
that's actually one of the
Hmm.
ways you can make $1 million very quickly. Launch
Yes.
an app. So I'm like,
Yes.
I need an expert. So I was like, who I really, really want, and I'll just say it and I'll start manifesting it. Because
Yeah.
they're not that many. They're not that
Oh,
many.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
the woman founder of Bumble,
Yes.
Whitney her.
Yes.
Because again, there are literally just a handful of women that own apps at that level. I would love
Mhm.
to interview her. So she's been on my bucket list for a
I
while.
love
So
that.
you just having this
I love
conversation
that.
with me just kind of renewed my
That's right.
my
That's right.
my bucket list of, if I want someone
Yeah.
on this podcast, if I want to work with someone, I just gotta keep
Yeah. You
doing
already
it
have
and
her.
manifesting and just keep reaching out,
Yeah.
and eventually I'll get that response.
Absolutely. You
Okay.
already have her. That's it. Right? So it's
Amen.
done.
Amen. I
So
love
she's just
that.
she's just making her way to you. That's all.
She's just making her way. I love that. Now, what would you say? Because again, you have some people have children, some don't, especially people that have children and are
Hmm.
working full-time jobs and
Yeah.
trying to start this wealth journey.
Hmm.
How do you balance it? Because my boyfriend's always like, to your point, that morning ritual, you got to get up before everybody else. You just got to
Hmm.
make the time. How do you
Hmm.
make the time? How do you
Yeah.
balance? Because you're probably going to be doing a lot at once when you start this journey.
Oh,
So,
yeah, yeah. You know what? I tell people all the time, if you want balance, then you will stay average. I
interesting.
mean, people who have wealth and are highly successful aren't living in balance all the time. Like that's just not the real. I mean, it's actually the opposite, right? We're working all kinds of different hours. We have commitments. We have staff. We have team. We have to have team calls before the day starts. I mean, it's and you got to have somebody, cook dinner. Then the grandbabies. I mean, it's constant.
Yeah,
You should
no,
see this house. The house manager is here, and then we have another project. We got to do the light fixtures in the bathroom. I mean, all every day, all day. That's what life looks like. So
right.
for me, there are seasons of balance. And I
Okay.
make sure that I'm intentional about seasons of balance. I'll take the whole month of May off. I'll take the whole month of August off. I take the month of December off, right? So I have seasons of balance. But I always say, pick your poison.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll take it. This is the, and people say I'm so overwhelmed. Me too. So am I. You know what I'm saying? Like
But
there's no,
listen, I'd rather be overwhelmed on a yacht in the Saint Tropez with
I'd
a
rather
glass
be,
of champagne in my hand. I
yes,
want to be that overwhelmed versus the other
yes,
overwhelmed. So yeah, it's like
yes.
choose.
And
It's
guess
always
what
like
happens?
choose your heart, choose your poison. Life
Yeah,
is going to be hard either way. So
no
just
matter what, no matter what. So would you like to sit in an office from 9 to 5, four walls, can't do what you want to do, everybody's determining your time, or you have the freedom, you have the responsibility, you have the accountability, you have the overwhelm, you have the balance, but guess what? You can do wherever you want in the world, whenever you want to. It is a choice, right? And I choose this side of the coin because it's a beautiful, beautiful life.
wow, wow, I love that. Is there anything else you want to share with our audience? Because I know you're saying, for the most part, Millionaire Morning Mamas, it's for the most part, it's running on its own. It's kind of
Yeah,
evergreen in terms of what you're doing. But is
yeah.
there anything new with Millionaire Morning Mamas people should know about that's maybe coming up? And then anything else you're working on? Another brand, is there anything else our audience should know about, or be on the lookout
Yeah. Millionaire Morning Mamas is pretty established, so it does kind of run evergreen. It's a beautiful thing. We have a team and everyone's having great success and we're doing great there. The next thing, funny enough, is a podcast.
for? Okay.
That's my
Okay,
next
great,
move. Well,
great,
so I'll
great.
probably be calling you
Yes,
behind the
yes,
scenes
yes,
because I've
definitely.
never done this before, but I definitely want to do it. And it's been a while, but I wanted to do it obviously right timing, right? I'm like, we got to pick the right time, and now is the time.
Yes,
So
love
having a
that.
lot of exposure and there's some fashion things I'm doing and some TV things I'm doing. So all that's coming. I'm really excited about it.
Wow, wow. Well, on that note, we have a special code if you are listening, for Lisa's brand and group. If you are listening to this and you use Fab, FABMAMA, Fab Mama, on legallyfab.com, which is our online companion to this podcast, you will receive a special discount off of any purchase on the store. So whether it's digital or physical product in the store, you will receive a special discount. We are connecting the Your Fab community to the Millionaire Morning Mamas community in this way. So feel free to visit legallyfab.com and use that discount to explore again our digital and physical products. Or digital products obviously are our biggest catalog of contract template forms for your business or for something personal if you need a contract. Our courses and ebooks on LC trademarks, copyrights, podcast, as she mentioned. If you want to launch a blog, things like that. So we have these how-to on-demand courses or ebooks if you just want to read about it. And then we obviously have some coaching for people just looking to launch what we say the most profitable idea. Because persons like me and Lisa, and if you're listening, sometimes we have like a million ideas. You can't launch everything at once. So, what our special coaching program does is we identify the most profitable idea out of your list of ideas, and we help you launch it and protect it. So, that is something we offer with our Passions to Profits coaching program, in addition to our contract templates and courses and ebooks. So you definitely want to check that out on legallyfab.com and use Fab Mama to receive your discount. And then your website, give them your website where they can visit you online and also your social media pages where they can find you.
Perfect. So it is Lisa M, as in Mary, Easton.com. LisaMEaston.com. That is the website. And then Instagram is at Lisa M. Easton.
Mhm.
And TikTok is Lisa M. Easton 1, the number one.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Well, they will make sure, we'll make sure uh in our captions, in the episode, on all the content across the platforms, those websites and handles are put in there so people know where to find you. And we are excited that you are going into the podcast world, which is an animal within itself. I tell
I
people all the
bet.
time, I right now I'm up to, four podcasts. So, this is my world now. I
Wow.
know how to brand it, launch it, execute it, get it distributed it. So
Mhm.
yes, we would love to obviously work with you and Millionaire Morning Mamas with your podcast journey. And yes, thank you for joining us.
Thank
This
you.
full episode, for anyone that's listening to it, you'll be able to watch it. We mentioned that we're going to be launching the Your Fab Life TV channel on YouTube. So this full interview, if
Woo.
you think that someone could benefit, but I know I just was inspired and just was rejuvenated just with this brief interview. But if there's someone out there you think that needs to see this, you'll be able to go to Your Fab Life on YouTube and watch this
Love it.
episode back, and many other episodes of other leaders we have in entertainment, fashion, real estate, politics. We have about 20 or 25 interviews we're launching, including this interview,
Love
in
that.
the next couple of weeks. So we're so excited to do that. And as always, take care, everyone, and enjoy your Fab Life.